Hello and welcome to Crash Course Botany, the study of plants, which is proudly brought to you in partnership with the Digital Studio and Nature. In this episode, we're going to learn about animals. That's right, we're doing zoology this time instead of botany. But don't worry, we'll be back to talking about plants next episode. So what do animals have to do with plants? Well, lots. For one, they eat them. And by eating plants, animals help plants reproduce because they eat the fruit of a plant and then poop out seeds later, helping to disperse those seeds far and wide. Animals also rely on plants for other stuff like camouflage or building materials for shelter. And plants rely on animals for pollination. Certain animals are specifically adapted to feed on the nectar and pollen of plants, and they inadvertently pick up pollen on their bodies and deposit it into other plants, enabling the plant to reproduce. And there are even some plants that have evolved to entice animals to pollinate them by providing a tasty reward, like the flower of the rafflesia, which smells like rotting meat and attracts flies. You can bet your biology is amazing. Animals and plants have been interacting and co-evolving with each other for millions of years, and we're going to spend the next couple episodes exploring what those relationships look like. So let's start with the basics. What even is an animal? The animal kingdom includes organisms that are multicellular, eukaryotic organisms that are heterotrophic, which means they get their food from other organisms. But there are so many different kinds of animals, from tiny worms to giant blue whales. In fact, there are more than 1 million described species of animals, and scientists estimate there could be anywhere from 2 to 6 million more species of animals yet to be discovered. So how do biologists keep track of all these animals? To answer that question, let's take a look at the Linnean classification of animals, which is the taxonomic hierarchy used to classify animals. Let's dive back into the animal kingdom. Remember, all animals are heterotrophic, which means they need to eat other organisms for energy. Some, like salamanders, are carnivores and munch on other animals. Cows are herbivores, sticking to plants, while humans are omnivores, enjoying both. Then there are creatures like sponges and jellyfish that filter tiny organisms from the water for food. And don't forget corals. They team up with tiny algae called zooxanthellae, which live in their tissues and help them out through photosynthesis. How cool is that? Each class splits into orders, like primates, and then into families, which group similar genera. For example, the family Felidae covers cats, including the genus Panthera, which has big cats like lions and tigers. So, that's the Linnean classification system. It's a cool way to organize the amazing diversity of life on Earth. If you're curious to dive deeper, we've got a whole episode on biological classification waiting for you after this one. Let's dive back into the animal kingdom. Remember, all animals are heterotrophic, which means they need to eat other organisms for energy. Some, like salamanders, are carnivores and munch on other animals. Cows are herbivores, sticking to plants, while humans are omnivores, enjoying both. Then there are creatures like sponges and jellyfish that filter tiny organisms from the water for food. And don't forget corals. They team up with tiny algae called zooxanthellae, which live in their tissues and help them out through photosynthesis. How cool is that? You can sort animals by their symmetry, which is pretty cool. Sponges are unique because they don't have any symmetry at all. Most animals, though, have either radial symmetry, like a pie, or bilateral symmetry, like a cupcake. Radial symmetry means you can split them into similar halves from any angle, while bilateral symmetry lets you cut them into two similar halves down one line. A big difference. Radial animals don't have a distinct head or tail, but bilateral ones do. Animals can be sorted in cool ways. Some, like sponges and jellyfish, don't have true tissues, while others, like us, are made of different tissues organized into organs. Another fun way to categorize them is by how they develop. Snails, for example, go through spiral cleavage, where cells divide at odd angles, while we humans have radial cleavage, with cells dividing more straight. Plus, some animals, like frogs, have a larval stage, while birds hatch straight from eggs. So, there are plenty of ways to sort and categorize animals. And throughout the rest of this series and crash course, we'll learn more about the incredible diversity of life on Earth. And we're just scratching the surface here. There are so many amazing animals out there, from the tiny gastropods like snails and slugs to the mighty dinosaurs. No, wait, they're extinct. Oh, you know what? Let's talk about dinosaurs in our next episode. See you then. Check out this suburban backyard. It's a mini ecosystem, right? So, what's happening here? The blue jay might snack on baby cardinals, cutting down competition for food. Meanwhile, cardinals munch on insects drawn to the milkweed. Eastern box turtles are in on the action too, feasting on those same insects. But here's the twist. Milkweed is super important for monarch butterfly larvae, who love those leaves, and guess what? Cardinals also eat the seeds from milkweed. It's like a wild balancing act where every animal plays a part, keeping this backyard buzzing with life. Okay, let's get into biology. Let's jump into the animal kingdom. So, what's an animal? They're multicellular creatures from the kingdom Animalia, and the best part, they can move. Whether it's crawling like salamanders, swimming like fish, or flying like birds, animals are all about that motion. Just one move in their life is enough to make them an animal. Plus, their cells have a nucleus, setting them apart from plants and fungi. Cool, right? Germ layers are super important in embryonic development. Most animals are triploblastic, meaning they have 3 layers: ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. These layers form all the tissues and organs. Animals with just 2 layers are called diploblastic. Sponges are a bit different, since they don't have true germ layers, just a few cell layers instead. These tissues team up to create organs. Take the heart, for example. It's made of muscle, nervous, and connective tissues, and its job is to pump blood, delivering oxygen and nutrients all over. Organs join forces to make organ systems, like the circulatory system, which includes the heart, blood vessels, and blood bath. All these systems work together to keep the animal alive and kicking. Cool, right? Symmetry is all about how an organism's body parts are arranged. Some creatures, like sponges, are totally asymmetrical, no pattern at all. Then there's radial symmetry, seen in jellyfish, where parts are arranged in a circle. Most animals, like humans and dogs, have bilateral symmetry, splitting their bodies into mirror image halves. Makes moving around easier, right? Snakes are like living cylinders, perfect for slipping through tight spaces. Radial shapes are great for chill animals like sea anemones, while elongated bodies help speedy critters like eels dart around with style. Isn't nature just incredible? Snakes are like living cylinders, perfect for slipping through tight spaces. Radial shapes are great for chill animals like sea anemones, while elongated bodies help speedy critters like eels dart around with style. Isn't nature just incredible? Germ layers are super important in embryonic development. Most animals are triploblastic, meaning they have 3 layers: ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. These layers form all the tissues and organs. Animals with just 2 layers are called diploblastic. Sponges are a bit different since they don't have true germ layers, just a few cell layers instead. Okay, so let's talk about segmentation. Segmentation is the division of an animal's body into repeating segments or metameres. So this is like in earthworms. They have a segmented body that is divided into many identical segments. Each segment contains all the major organs of the body. Segmentation allows for flexibility and mobility, and it also allows for specialization of body regions. The coelom is a fluid-filled body cavity lined with mesoderm. Animals with a coelom are called coelomates, like earthworms. Some have a body cavity that isn't lined with mesoderm, known as pseudocoelomates, like roundworms. Then there are acoelomates, which don't have any body cavity at all. Simple, right? The circulatory system is all about moving blood around the body, delivering oxygen and nutrients while picking up waste. There are 2 types, open and closed. In an open system, like in insects, blood flows freely and bathes tissues directly. In a closed system, like ours, blood stays in vessels and doesn't touch the tissues directly. Simple, right?